Today on Captain Castle's Laboratory, we're going to be working on Practice Makes Perfect Lemax Table Accent. Here is a picture of the box. There we go. And according to the owner, it doesn't work. So I have a power supply plugged in, and let's plug it into the wall. Done. I can hear a motor, but it's not moving. So these are the magnetic ones. You can see she doesn't fall off. And you can kind of hear it. And then where's the other magnet? Right there. Not moving. And then the figure 8 one, nothing moving. So something isn't working, of course. That's why it's on my bench. So let's figure it out. The reason I have it like this is so you can see that this set comes with stuff that doesn't move, such as characters, trees, and a bench that you can set up around the edges, and as you see in this picture. So it's more of a visual aid if you've never seen this piece and wanted an idea of what it comes with, because it's a very thin box, so it doesn't seem like it comes with a lot of stuff. So, this also takes batteries, which it's empty because, power. And if you look at the bottom, it's just solid plastic. There's no visible screw holes because I bet you the screws are underneath these 6 pads, which is very common. So I'm going to use something with a little bit of a bite to pry these pads out. Apparently that's not working. Pads are generally either just tacked in with some glue or they have double back tape on the pads. Yeah, these are double back taped down. You can sometimes find these pads at hobby stores, and one side's got a self-adhesive on it. That's what these are. You can also make them. You can get some thin foam rubber like from Michael's and use a hole puncher and punch out the little circles and then dab a hot glue and pop them in. I wouldn't recommend anything such as super glue, because if you get glue inside the top of the screw, it makes it really hard to take it apart if you need to. Because anything that is mechanical, electrical, pneumatic, hydraulic will fail. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. There we go. One more. I have to say, out of all the pads I've taken off on many pieces, hundreds of them, these are probably the best adhered ones. And that one broke in half. I wonder if these were replaced with like super glue, like this one here, because it's sticky. All right. Let's take out the 6 screws and see what we got. Now, because 2 of the pads are damaged, I might just do the hole punch and piece of foam. The foam that I usually just pick up at Michael's. It's anywhere from $1 to $1.50, I think, per sheet. The more expensive one's the self-adhesive. The less expensive one is the one that you have to glue on yourself. I believe I have some self-adhesive stuff left. Alright. Let gravity take it apart. Got a couple of wires, of course, because you have the power and the power port. There's the motor. There's the magnets, the 3 silver discs. This was stuck to this. It shouldn't have been stuck. It should slide on it. It seems to be free. Let's plug it in, see what's moving or not moving. to flip it back over. That's an interesting eccentric in the groove and the yeah, that's very interesting. This is the first Lemax I've seen that's used this. So the reason it didn't work is the grease, the lubricant they used to make this slide, has become super sticky, kind of like glue. It's basically glued itself into place. Yeah, this stuff's still pliable and still super slimy. But this stuff, yeah, this stuff is like sticky, like real sticky. So that's probably the problem. Let this thing run for a second to make sure it has no issues. I'm looking down underneath to check the gears. They look pretty good. I see no obvious cracks, and it's not clicking. Motor sounds great. Even the pulley doesn't look bad as far as the belt. Alright, so I'm going to turn it back off. So, there's a set of gears right down here that go over, well, of course, under this. And then that probably drives another gear with the eccentric. Oh yes, there is a large gear in here. When I say large, this gear goes to right about there. So that's about 4 inches in diameter. That's a pretty hefty gear. And that gear spins, which pulls this metal bracket. This metal bracket has a guide that fits in this track that spins in a circle. Then this guy has a metal pin that follows the hole right there. You can see the cut groove in the hole. So that's actually a pretty interesting design. It works. They should use this on more of their products, because if this was like on the the pumpkins that go back and forth, God, I just forgot the name from a few years back. Even the Swan boat ride or some of the other ice skating rinks, this looks like a design that would last a really long time, and it's very serviceable because this part will probably never break. And these gears are easily accessible. You just remove these 4 large screws, pop it open, and all the gears in here are standard gears. They're not anything special. You don't have that impossible. Yes, you do have the impossible gear, which is now being made. You got a 10-tooth, a couple of stepper gears, and then the impossible gear goes from the small teeth to the big teeth that drive the big gear here. You can tell this base was probably used for something else, or could be used since it has a hole for the speaker. So this might be very similar base to an audio driven one that has music or sounds of people making noise. The motor is a 300 CA, 11,440 RPM standard motor. The switch is a standard switch, the barrel jack standard, so this is a very standard one. So if this one failed for you, or on you, you could probably repair this entire thing with parts that I link on the videos, or the Facebook page, or even our website. And it's readily available on Amazon and most hobby sites, even eBay. So I'm taking some isopropyl rubbing alcohol, and I'm going to clean off all this residue right here to make this a slick surface again. I want to get rid of all the sticky stuff. It's probably just lithium grease or white grease that has collected enough dust and grime to become concrete. That's the problem with greases, is they collect debris, and when they collect enough debris, it goes from a lubricant to a solidicant. It becomes a solid, basically. I am using the light to see if I missed any spots by moving it back and forth. She looks good. So, there's a couple things you can do at this point. Now, if you have one of these rides that has a slick surface, such as this, or the Swan boats, or even the, I want to say it's not the tilt and hurl. Man, man, why can't I think what it is? You could spray this with a dry film, kind of like the 3M stuff I have or use. You can also cover it with, and this is what's more recommended these days, furniture polish. Furniture polish works apparently really, really good. I found that out from watching what Mr. Christmas recommends for repairing their slide rides. What I mean by slide rides is it's a magnet that causes the characters to slide on top of a piece of plastic. Now, because the bottom of that was sticky, the top of this is sticky, I'm going to use the rubbing alcohol to clean off the stickiness. And interestingly enough, these two magnets are cracked in half. They're actually physically broke. That's pretty odd for a neodymium magnet. That one's still intact perfectly. Clean off the hard grease. So, and I mentioned this before, table accents are nice in the sense that they're usually pretty easy to repair. A lot of people don't like the animated stuff because it breaks, and I fully understand. But when you have a table accent, they use basic parts, they're basic components. So I am going to put some of the non-stick dry film. The only reason I like the dry film is I use it on plastic parts only. So this is plastic, and of course this faux pond is plastic, because it is it doesn't collect as much debris or dirt, dust, because it's a non-stick and it's a dry lubricant, meaning that once you spray it and after the aerosol properties dissipate, it's just this white powdery stuff like you see on the tip here, and it works great, but only on plastic to plastic and not the gearbox. So I only put it on parts where a plastic item is rubbing against another plastic item that is not a gear or a pulley or something of the like. So the only problem with this stuff is you got to shake it, so you're going to hear that metal ball in here bounce around for a minute. That should do. And so it goes on as a liquid, and after a few seconds it dries, and it has a really strong smell. So if you do it in an area like where I'm at, enclosed, have some ventilation so that way you don't die from the fumes. So actually, I'm going to put the mat up here so that way the pins that stick out can hold this thing center. So when I stick it back together, it doesn't shift. I'm really surprised it's not glued. Like the Swan Ride, they had little dabs of hot glue to hold it in place so it wouldn't shift if you opened it up, because they just fell off the pins. So there we go. That actually was a lot easier to put back on the pins than I expected. So before I screw it back together, see if it works. Working pretty good. So I'm going to see if I have some furniture polish, because, well, these two have felt. This one doesn't. Felt's gone. And I'm going to see if we can make this work better. This is just the gouging. You can tell that this one without has been grinding into the plastic, and then this one, it's the right footprint for that. And the dog is too small for that. I don't even know if they have the dog on here, because this figure 8 one, there's no wear on it. So I wonder if the owner only used the 2 large characters versus the small, I guess, Chihuahua. Kind of looks like a cow face. Really weird looking dog. But anyhow, so might try the dry film first, and if that doesn't work, I'll clean it off with rubbing alcohol, and then I'll add some furniture wax. So I know that the furniture polish trick has been around for a long time, and I think it predates the invention of dry film lubricants that are easily found. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert on when they make a product, so, but yeah. So this one wasn't too bad. So if you have this piece and it's not moving, maybe it's just stuck. You got grease that has gone past its time and it needs to be removed and re-lubricated. I know that the new way of doing things from a different company, Mr. Christmas, is to use furniture polish, whereas I really like the dry film. It does have a little bit of an odor when you spray it, but I found it works really good on plastic pieces that are not gears. And you know, everybody has their own. The manufacturer doesn't give you anything because the manufacturer doesn't want you working on this product. So they're not going to give you tips, tricks, and their lubrication techniques. So there you go. So she's screwed back together. We're going to do one more test. The reason being is being screwed back together, the clamping force changes the tension, so it may not work. Where's the little... I don't know where the doggy one is, and there's that one. There's the doggy one. Look at that. So, I'm going to clean this off. Now, when it comes to alcohol, the isopropyl, this is 99%. I got it on Amazon. You don't have to get something that's 1 gallon. Like me, you can get from your local store. I recommend anything that is 90% or higher, so the 91 or 95 or even 97 works great. The higher percentage of alcohol helps break down sticky residues, grease, cleans your hands. You know, you can use it for cuts and scrapes. It's good for taking off this black dust and gray dust marks from my workbench or packaging. Rubbing alcohol is a multi-purpose cleaner. I like it. I've been using it for a long time on doing custom cars when we have to remove masking for paint or repair. We always used rubbing alcohol. It removes it without damaging the clear coat or wax finish on a car. So, little tip. Dry for a second. I'm just going to wipe off the overspray. While it's wet, it wipes off really nice. It's almost dry. If you have this stuff, you can actually use light to reflect, and you can see there's still a wet spot here and a little bit here, but the rest of it has been drying. It dries really fast, usually in less than a half a minute. You can also see where I missed the spot right there. So. Apparently I sprayed it a little too hard right here because she's still wet. So. Then if your felt is dirty, well, I'm waiting for that to finish drying since I got a little too strong right there. Oh, that's great. Felt came off. If your felt's dirty, masking tape, blue, yellow, doesn't matter, and tape and pull it off to pull the hair and dust off. I'm going to glue this back on since it just popped off. There we go. I think it's funny. It's a round disc with an oval pad. I guess they never got that toy when they were a kid that had square holes and round holes and triangular holes, and you have to make them fit in the appropriate spots. So I'm just checking in here real quick to see if this one that's missing the felt pad, if it was actually in here somewhere underneath one of the characters or trees. It is not. So clean her off, put her there. Clean the Chihuahua off, put him there, and I'm going to let this cure before I put it on, because I don't need gluing it to the top surface. There we go. Guess we'll try the furniture polish. I don't know why the Chihuahua's vibrating. Let me try him on the other track. Yeah, that's weird. What's this doing? Is that good? Yeah, once the dog starts shaking. That's weird. Alright, well, I guess I'll be going to get some furniture polish and fixing this right back up. But basically, you now can see how to repair this piece if you have it. Very simple, very easy. It's just 6 screws, pull it apart, access to your belt, gears, so on. If it doesn't turn, good chance that the grease has solidified and stuck to that big round disc to the mat. If you lose your neodymium magnets, like you pulled apart and one of them is like they're cracked and they fall out, you can go on Amazon or eBay and buy neodymium magnets. These are a little bit bigger. This one right here is the size that's there, but you can get them in different diameters from itty bitty to massive. So you can measure, pry the ones out, put a dab of glue, and put your new ones in. And you saw there was also other holes, so if you wanted to play around, you could put a dab of hot glue, push one in, and see if you can change the position of the characters. Now I know they don't want you to do that, hence the reason they have a dotted line on this for them to travel. That's because the timing is set so they don't smack each other. But, you know, you can try different things here and there and see what works and what doesn't. So, all right, so I'm going to clean this off and polish it up with some furniture polish. I don't think I have any, so I'll have to go to the store in the morning and pick some up. And then send it back to its owner so it can go in a window for Christmas. So, thanks for watching. Till the next one.